Hello, this is Brian Resney, president of Resney Wealth Management, bringing you an update about the economy and the investment markets. You know, it's been a few weeks since we had the official vote for Britain to leave the EU. And when I talked a few weeks ago and looking at the polling numbers up until the actual vote, it looked like it was going to be voted to stay in by about 4%. On the side to stay. But of course, the vote came in 4% on 4% to actually leave the EU, which kind of startled the markets. We sent out an update, told clients, non-event, go have a nice weekend, have a nice dinner, and of course have a nice martini, and hopefully our clients actually did that over that weekend. You know, the markets then rebounded. You're going to see some short-term volatility, but let me give you an update. Britain leaving the EU, remember, Britain's not leaving planet Earth, they're leaving the EU, which to me has been a failed experiment, and most experts would say the exact same thing. There's probably a half a dozen countries within the EU, the 28 nation combination that went together back in, let's say, the 70s, 80s. And really about 6 of those countries out of 28 are really prosperous countries and actually seem to work. A lot of the other countries really are more socialist, lazy, let's call them, and essentially not great economies. So the good economies, let's say 6 out of 28, are being dragged down by the bad economies, and I think Britain was one of those. Britain also didn't want to lose their identity. There's a major obviously problem with this refugee crisis, and I think this is an issue that a lot of investors need to understand. And just to give you a little information, a few weeks ago I was watching a video, and it was of the EU, big EU meeting with different prime ministers and heads of power for the different countries. And one particular prime minister was talking about what was going on and why there's such an issue with this refugee program. And he specifically talked about Poland and how Poland did not have a lot of these socialist programs. Remember, once you get accepted into the EU, you're a refugee, you then can go around to any of these countries freely whenever you want. You're basically there. So what happens is when they would send so many people to Poland, which, by the way, all these countries have to take a certain number of people every year, and that's, again, crux of the problem, because England's taken a lot more than they can handle, and they're getting basically sick of it and having problems of it, and also financially it's causing an issue. But anyway, they send their share to Poland. Poland does not have all the socialist-free programs like some of the other EU countries do, so they leave Poland right away, and they go to these other countries that have more socialist, free social programs, let's say. And this creates a problem for those countries. Britain happens to be one of those countries. And when the speaker was talking about this issue, he said the reason that America is great and was great back in the day is because when people came here and they landed in New York, refugees, and wanted to come to the U.S. years ago, these are people that actually wanted to contribute to society. These are people that came here because back then we had no free social programs for people coming over. And if you came here, you knew you had to work and you had to work hard. That's what built America great. Well, in the last 20 years or so, we've kind of lost that. And again, I'm not talking politics left or right. I'm just telling you, here's the real world of how things are working. So what's ultimately happened now in our country is we basically will let illegal aliens come in. We'll let anybody come in on visas. We don't know where these people are. They don't leave in 6 months, whatever it is. This does create a problem for the U.S. It's going to basically hold down our growth and cost us more money. Again, we have one of the best systems in the world for legal immigration, but illegal immigration, of course, should be taken care of, but it doesn't seem to be by the current administration and really almost by the past administration either. Again, this is a problem and it's got to be corrected. Our country should be great. We should be doing better. And again, a lot of it, again, that I've talked about is rules and regulations coming down from government that burden small business. And of course, there's a lot of talk right now about trade. In my opinion, and again, I'm going to agree with Donald Trump on this, and again, I'm not telling you how to vote or left or right, but I'm just telling you factual. Fair trade, and he's not talking about saying stop all trade. He's saying fair trade, meaning you do what's fair and right, not illegal trade, not undermining trade. So again, a lot of the programs that our government officials have set up in the past really were for their political agenda to get in the backseat or special deals from other countries, which have really hurt the middle class and businesses in the U.S. If we get back to fair trade deals, and a fair trade deal, of course, is fair, meaning they can't manipulate these other countries putting products in the U.S., that'll help us substantially. The other thing that's going to help us is fixing our tax problem. And again, I'll give you a little education. Corporate taxes in the U.S. are at 35% bracket. We are the highest corporate tax structure bracket in the world. So right off the get-go, a lot of these countries are at 15%. Imagine how much more competitive we would be if we just brought the corporate tax structure here in the U.S. down to 15%. Our products would be easier to buy and cheaper for not only people in the U.S. but people around the world. We would be more competitive. Right now, for some reason, our government wants to keep us not competitive. This is simple stuff that can be fixed, but you have to have the right person in government in order to do it. Again, I'm not talking left or right. I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm just giving an education how reality works within the political system. And again, unfair trade is not good. When people are cheating is not good because it hurts the U.S. And our tax structure off the get-go makes us uncompetitive around the world because corporations have to charge more for our products no matter where they go because of our high tax structure. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? Bring us in line with the rest of the world on corporate tax structure, and right off the get-go, without doing anything else, one simple maneuver will make us competitive against all the other countries around the world. Of course, I see our economy doing well the second half of the year. We've recouped and have from this bouncing around from the EU vote and from Britain, leaving the EU. By the way, this is going to take probably 2 years. I see our economy doing well. I see a better second half of the year. I would not invest in Europe at all. There's going to be more turbulence. The U.S. is the strong house. If you're a client of my firm and you have a question, call me. If you're not a client of my firm, call me, schedule a consultation, become a client of Resnick Wealth Management. Have a safe and profitable week.